Hello, my friends. Welcome to Super Divorce on YouTube. This is Nicholas Villars, one half of the synth pop duo known as Super Divorce. I am just here hanging out, getting ready to go to bed. I'm forcing myself to bed. Um, you might recall, if you've watched previous videos of me talking and describing my lifestyle, you might recall that I had recently discussed going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, getting my day started correctly, getting all the things done that I need to get done in the day. Things have gotten a little hectic, a little scrambled, and I have not done a good job at keeping myself reined in and on task. And early lunch it is then. Well, good news is, Obi-Wan, that you will have an episode of Sequential Star Wars coming up in just about 15 minutes. That will go live for you. Because this will not be a super long video tonight, but we'll go for just a few here. I'm not going to wrap up in the next minute or so, but I am going to wrap up somewhat earlier. I was just saying that hello there. Another person has joined. How are you? I was just talking about how with everything that's going on in my life, being a new father, having a 6-year-old who's just started preschool, also being a husband, being in charge of the booking and shop management at my wife's tattoo studio that she owns, and then also doing this channel, keeping on task with the videos being uploaded, edited, and also singing and writing music in Super Divorce. There's a lot going on. And the way that I worked it out was that basically my day needs to start at about 5 in the morning. I've got to do that to stay on track with everything that I've got going on. Otherwise, certain things get left in the dust, certain things get left out in the day. You start having to make sacrifices like, oh, well, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to the gym today, or, well, I guess I'll edit that video tomorrow, or, most egregiously, I would say, oh, well, I guess, we'll have family time the next day or something like that. So that can't happen. Things need to stay on target. We need to stay on track. Need to stay on schedule here. I cannot afford to have things go topsy turvy by being undisciplined. And it sucks for me because I really do like working late. It's no problem for me to stay up until 5 or 6 in the morning. It feels natural, especially after working several third shift jobs. It's like once I did that, it was like game, set, match. I was just all the time ready to stay up until it was light out. And it's so like the middle of the night is kind of like when I would hit my stride. You can get a lot of things done. There's not a lot of distractions. Um, it's traditionally been a pretty good time to get creative endeavors underway and to do band related items and such. So 100% on no 5 a.m. sessions from now on. Well, it's possible that I might be doing a 5 a.m. session as I'm waking up. That would be the ideal scenario. I could do like some starting the day sessions. We might get something like that, some live videos on the way to the gym and such, or as I'm heading over to the tattoo shop. I don't know. We'll see. Nothing against the 5 a.m. session. That can happen. It just needs to be that I'm not starting a video at 5 a.m. Having not gone to bed or something silly like that. That just can't happen. I cannot allow myself to be that undisciplined. I hate the way it feels. I hate feeling like I'm not getting everything accomplished. So yeah, the answer, in my opinion, is not to cut back on the responsibilities. It is to double down on discipline and to do the things that you know you need to do. It's like I've structured all of this. I've written it out. I've planned. I know how my day needs to go. With a little bit of leeway. I don't have my day scheduled down to the minute or anything insane like that, but it's like I can't be staying up until 3 or 4 in the morning. And then it's really just a lack of discipline. It's like 10 rolls around, it's like I should be getting ready to bed or getting ready for bed, or I could go in the office and I could start working on something. And I oftentimes will go and do that, and it's not good. It's good that I'm enthusiastic, I would say. It's good that I want to work on the things that I'm doing, but I need to do them at the right time of the day so that other things do not get cast aside. So that's kind of that's what I'm looking at. So I'm gonna get to bed pretty soon here, but I did want to come on and say hello. Bender and I got together earlier tonight, Obi-Wan. We talked about your Patreon question. Obi-Wan wants to know how many sleep hours I have scheduled. Well, let's see, if I'm waking up at 5, I would like to be to bed by sometime in between, 10 and 11. So, yeah, closer to 10 would be good so I can get close to 7 hours of sleep. I can operate pretty well on that. If I have to push it to 6 sometimes, then, that can be done. Once you go past that, then it gets a little dicey. Like tonight, I'm gonna get close to 5ish hours, and that's okay to do every now and then. But it's no way to operate consistently. Not for me anyhow. I have heard that once you get older, like when you're an old person, that you can cut down on your sleep time. Your body doesn't need as much sleep as you age. So maybe someday I'll be able to get by on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. That would be best. I would enjoy that because while I like taking a good nap, I like being comfortable in my bed. I would rather be up enjoying my life and doing things. So I would say between 6 and 7 is what I'm aiming for on most nights here. But yeah, we got together. We recorded a podcast. It is actually we're calling it the Super Fast Supercast this time for this week because it's only about 20 minutes or so. And the reason for that is because we sat down. I had my recording device at my side. I pressed record. We began talking, and we got probably an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes into the podcast. And I looked over and realized that the timer was not going. Like it was not recording for the entire time that we had been talking. And that really sucks because we had some good discussions. As I was going to say, Obi-Wan, we discussed your Patreon question that you gave to us. We went really in depth on that. We talked for about a half hour on the original podcast. And for some reason, it just was not recording. Actually, I know the reason why. I figured it out afterwards. I think I described it on the podcast, so I won't bore you with the details here. I will say that I did hit the record button. So it was not, well, it was my fault. Yes, it was my fault because I should have realized that it wasn't actually recording. But, I just leaned over, hit record, and I assumed it was going, and it was not for a very silly reason. Yeah, but sparing you the details, that hour and 15 minutes or so is lost to time. No one will ever hear what we were talking about. That is the lost episode of the Super Divorce Supercast, unfortunately. But we went back over everything that we talked about, kind of in like just in a sort of summary type way. We gave a little synopsis of what the episode would have been like. And we went back over some of the talking points and had a little bit of a discussion. You get a more concise answer, that's true. But if you listen to the cast, you will hear us say that you can go ahead and submit another question because the concise answer, it's not really what we wanted. When we talked about your question, Obi-Wan, we had a very good, well, it was more than just like us giving answers. We went through the process of kind of deciding which era we wanted to choose from first, and then certain topics within the eras that we're discussing, trying to narrow down and figure out what our choices were. So you got to hear us go through the entire process as opposed to us on the super fast supercast just kind of coming right out and telling you what the answers were because we already knew at that point. When we went into the first podcast that we were trying to record, we didn't know the answer to the question, either one of us. So we had to kind of work it out on air, and I think it would have been fun to listen to, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, we decided that since your question did not get answered in its full glory, let's say, we are going to allow you to give us another question. You can send that to me on Facebook, or you could email that to superdivorce@superdivorceme.com, whichever you prefer. Just send over your new question, and we'll tackle that on next week's episode. We will make sure that the tape is rolling and that we don't make another mistake like we did this week. So, because believe me, we were bummed out about it too. It was a good episode. We were having a good discussion. The episode was flowing nicely. I think people would have enjoyed listening to it, but what are you going to do? You know, no use crying about it. That's what happened, and we'll try again next time. So, and you pledge an extra $3 a month. Yes, that's true. We very much appreciate that. So, yeah, so you definitely deserve to have your question answered in full glory, and not glossed over, or not in a condensed way, in a way that is fully unpacked. We want to unpack the question and unpack the answers in full. And we'll do that for anyone who pledges. So if you would like to ask your Super Divorce pals a question to be featured on the Super Divorce Supercast, head on over to patreon.com/superdivorce, and for just $2 a month, you can ask us a question to be featured on the Super Divorce Supercast. Oh boy. So tomorrow I am going to head to Indianapolis. I'm going to the Horror Hound Convention. I'm going to meet Bender there, and we're going to take our Laserdisc copies of Hard Bodies and have them signed by Kane Hodder, and hopefully go live while we're there and actually show that on camera. That's what we had talked about doing back when we did our Hard Bodies episode of the Super Divorce Supercast. I think we had talked about doing that. So we're going to go and make it happen tomorrow. I'm also taking my Laserdisc copy of Weekend at Bernie's, and I'm going to get that signed by Terry Kaiser, Bernie himself. If you've never seen Weekend at Bernie's, it is an absolute gem of 80s comedy. So please look forward to Super Divorce showing you some Weekend at Bernie's and some Hard Bodies signed merchandise tomorrow evening on this channel. We'll be here doing that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, besides that, I started reading this last night, and I'm enjoying it so far. Seems like it's going to be a very fun comic to get through. This is just the road to metal. I may have shown this before. It's got a really cool cover. This actually, it's kind of textured, you know. It feels like metal, actually. So that's pretty neat. This is a cool kind of deal. It's nice when they do this kind of stuff with comic books, making them fun. This is how you make comics great again. By cool packaging, by giving people fantastic artwork, action, adventure. This is what comic book fans want. And dare I say, that's what Comicsgate is all about. even though I've seen some nasty things written about comic skaters today. Uh, just totally inaccurate. It just drives me up the wall, my friends. The way that Comicsgate is presented by a lot of people, especially on Twitter. That's where a lot of people are talking about it. You see people bad mouthing the creators involved in Comicsgate, the fans of Comicsgate. And it's really just a community, I think, of people who want their comics to be fun to read and who don't want to be preached at, and want their comics to be written and drawn by talented people. That's what it's all about. And if you actually spend time within the community and you go on some of the live streams of these creators and see what most of the people are saying, it's mostly a very positive and uplifting community of people who are very enthusiastic and people who are dedicated fans who are willing to support good art and good writing. And that's what it's about for me, and that's what I've gotten behind it. It's because I fell out of comics for a while. You can go back and look. I think we started doing Super Fanatics, I guess it was almost 2 years ago, and we ran it for I think 12 or so episodes, something like that. Had a good time doing it. We just had to take a break from all those video shows for a while we were preparing for the new album. And then I think the reason we didn't go back to it is because Bender and I both kind of fell out of the weekly readership contingent. You know, we weren't really going to the comic store every week. And it's because a lot of the stuff that I was reading had just become garbage. And so now with all this Comicsgate stuff going on, it was like, oh, it feels like there's some new energy and some new life involved in comic books. And not everything that I'm reading is necessarily coming out of the Comicsgate community. I mean, this is a DC book, and it just shows you that even the big two and some of the bigger publishers are still capable of putting out books that are worth reading. It's just that a good majority of them are not worth reading, and the way that those big companies are treating their fans is also kind of off-putting. The way that some of the writers who are working for those companies treat their fans is off-putting and makes you not really want to pay attention to what's going on. So, like I said, the Comicsgate stuff is it's breathed new life into comic books for me, and it's got me excited about them again. So, let's see. Obi-Wan said he's gone for a Vietnamese chicken roll. It should be tasty. Tells me to sleep well. Vietnamese chicken roll. That does sound good. Sounds like a nice, light, fresh, healthy lunch, Obi-Wan. I hope you enjoy it. So, anywho, Dark Days, the road to metal. I'm sure that we're going to do an episode of Super Fanatics on this and then actual metal itself. I have that book up in my office as well. And I look forward to getting through these and actually doing a nice little feature on them. I think that'll be fun to tell people about. All right, so with that, I'm going to head off to bed. Should be midnight by now. So if you guys are looking for anything else to watch, just check on the sequential Star Wars playlist, because there should be a brand new one up if you've been following along. And if you haven't, make sure you start at the beginning, because you don't want to skip around on that one. We're going through the entire Star Wars series in chronological order. We'd love to have you come along. A nice little adventure, and see how we feel by the end of it. It's going to be interesting. Okay, well, thanks for watching tonight. Hope everyone has a good one, and we will talk again soon. Y'all take real good care. Good night.